Let's not give away information about your hand. Should I speak or keep quiet?
Well, I think it depends on who you are. I think if you're playing against really top-notch competition and you feel a little bit like they might be better than you, then you should probably just shut up. If you feel like you can manipulate your opponents and they're weaker than you are, there's a lot you can do by talking at the table. There's a lot of manipulating of their minds you can do. I talk a lot.
Well, I would say you talk more than almost anyone, right?
I talk more than anyone during a hand, probably, trying to get information. And it suits me well. Having said that, if I'm up against a really tough player, a tough opponent, if I'm playing Phil Ivey, I'm not going to talk very much at all. I'm just going to shut up and let the cards play themselves. So I would say only if you feel like you can manipulate your opponents should you even bother. It's a dangerous game of psychological warfare, so if you're not prepared to fight it, just don't do it.
370.
Some great advice from Daniel, and you could get some of that. All you have to do is email in, nuts@eptlive.com, if you'd like to ask Daniel Negreanu a question. There it is on screen for you.
Sebastian's going to raise all in from the small.
We got an all in here from a short stack. We only got 417,000, looks like.
It's the chip leader that's moved all in.
Oh, pardon me, the chip leader.
Blind versus blind.
So Nielsen is the short stack here at 428.
He's asked Nielsen if he'd like to put his chips in the big line. And it looks like he's found a decision of some kind. What's your calling range here?
Well, I mean, if I've got a hand like Ace-9, I'm going to call.
Yeah.
Ace-9 or better, I'm definitely calling. I'm probably going to call with King-Queen, even King-Jack. The big blind, the razor doesn't have to have anything at all. He could easily have a hand like. But then again, you have to wonder, like, why would the razor do that? You know, he's already in good chip position. Does he really need my blind that badly? So he might have Ace-3 offsuit.
Barnes going to go ahead and let it go.
Well, Nielsen does fold, and his downward trend continues. Unfortunately for him, had that horrible beat against Jason Mercier. Hopefully for him, that won't define his final table, but he's now one of the short stacks.
I might have called him with Ace-7 there too. I'm thinking I just would have looked over at his eyes and said, "What do you got over there, son? You got a big hand, or you just would have done that anyway? Did you look at your cards?" I would have done all that stuff. Then I would have got a read, and if he giggled funny or something, and I'd say, "Oh no, oh, I see what you got. Ah, you got King-8. Okay, I call."
Look into his soul.
Yeah, something like that. I wouldn't give the BS about, you know, Helmuth looking into souls or whatever. I'm just going to look, you know, get him to tell me with his body. I'm not going to grab it out of him. I'll have him tell me.
Well, we'd be really interested if you pick up any physical tells on any of these players when they are making a decision.
Well, you know, that's difficult. That's actually a touchy subject, if you will. If I were to, whether or not I would even say anything.
Could you just write it down for me?
Well, you know, one of the things is this. Like, this is actually an interesting, you know, question, because W Coops on PokerStars, sometimes we do commentary at the final table, but you have to be careful of what you're saying, because they could be listening, you know, and they could have friends who are watching the broadcast and say, by the way, you know, that guy has a tell, and Negreanu just spotted it, and I don't want to influence the action. I don't mind talking a little bit about their playing tendencies, their style, but when it comes to physical stuff, I see something that's dead on. You know, that could be valuable for one of the players at the table. It's all about protecting the integrity of the event here.
What a great season coming up for you here on the EPT. The next stop is in London. 1st to the 5th of October, and of course you'll be able to join us for the final 2 days on EPT Live right here. It's just a £20,000 buy into the High Rollers tournament on the 6th of October, if you'd like to slip that one into your schedule, or better yet, relax in your lounge and watch it with us.
Start us off under the gun this time.
Are you coming to London, Daniel?
I will be in London. I'll be in London for a while. Definitely playing the EPTs for sure. The High Roller event should be fun. Yeah. Hopefully we get about 60 or 70 players. It's a big buy-in, obviously.
He's going to raise it to 103,000.
It'd be nice to see some really kind of top quality.
Well, you will. Whenever you have a field that's got a really high buy-in, you limit the field in a sense, and what that does is it elevates the scale, the actual skill level of the play, because the tables are usually made up of like maybe 7 or 8 pros and 1 or 2 maybe not pros.
Right.
A typical EPT, you might see 2 to 3 pros at a table and then some amateurs, and just the necessary skill set is completely different.
All in from the button.
Well, here's the all-in from Martin Nielsen.
Well, he's definitely going to get called here. Jason Mercier made it 103,000. It's only about 250 more.
Jason says he's going to call. He's got the red 10s this time.
tens versus
The ace, deuce of diamonds.
ace,
See,
deuce
I
of
don't like
diamonds.
this
That was
play
a
at
weird
all.
play
That's
by Martin
actually,
Nielsen.
I'll be honest with you, that's an awful play. You know, Martin Nielsen
has no fold
yes,
equity there.
no, and not only that, even if Jason Mercier has 10 jack suited, he's 50-50. There's no hand with ace deuce you can ever be a big favorite over. That's a mistake right here.
Flop comes
A little bit
5,
frustrated
5,
maybe
king.
from losing.
Yeah, I was
his
just
10.
going to say, I wonder if he has actually got over that frustration. He looked frustrated earlier.
It's just giving up really to make that move with ace deuce. Maybe because he lost to the ace deuce.
There you go. Looking for some calm, reverse calm, or whatever you want to call it. Needs an ace.
There's the
Or
deuce.
running deuces will do it. That would be pretty sick. This is an
Well, a lot more
800,000
outs.
chip.
Gives him a couple more outs.
He's got the deuce or the ace now.
Deuce or an ace for Martin Nielsen to get out of this. Otherwise, he's going to finish eighth. Needs the miracle. Doesn't happen for him.
Let's have a more
Martin Nielsen is our 8th place finisher. He's going to pick up 119,000 euros for his troubles.
Well, I'm going to be completely honest here and say that I definitely didn't like the ace-deuce play. And frankly, even though he was right with the 2 tens, in the long run, when he called there and Jason Mercier doubled up, I don't know that I loved his call with 10. So he made 2 suspect moves. One of them he was dead on right. This second one here, he was clearly wrong in making the move with ace-deuce. He could have waited to, and you know what, frankly, if nobody raised, he could have moved all in blind the next hand. That would have been a better play than the one that he made.
Jason Mercier was his nemesis. 2 big confrontations. One Mercier sucked out. The other, he had the best hand all the way. And his chip stack up to 1.4 million. Martin Nielsen came to this final table as one of the chip leaders. I think he might be the chip leader. He is first to leave us. And perhaps a little bit of tilt maybe on that last hand, because as Daniel said,
I don't even know if it was tilt, really. I just think it's just a questionable tournament strategy to just not really realize, okay, you know what, I've got about 4 or 5 more hands I can look at. You know, the Razor's already put in 103. I've only got 350. I can't get him off the hand, even if he's got Jack 9. If he does have Jack 9, you know, I'm not even that far ahead of that hand. If he does have Ace 8, he's definitely calling me, and I'm really dead against that hand. Any pair I'm dead against. Like I said, if the very next hand is folded to him and he's the first player to go all in, he can just go all in with deuce 3 offsuit and have a better chance of winning that money overall. Like that, not better chance, but possibly winning the blind hand with a better move than forcing yourself into a race. One of the things I profess when I teach folks is to avoid races when you can, when you know you're going to get called, and that's one of those situations he should have folded.
well, we're going to find out exactly why he made that move. Here's Martin Nielsen, our 8th place finisher.
And in 8th place here off of our final table, we have Martin Nielsen, who's just taken home 119,000 euros. Now, you had a very difficult hand before this one, obviously, the 10s versus 6s, which took a huge chunk out of your stack. Do you think that might have affected the way you played in this hand?
It affected a bit, yeah. He raises in first position, and I know he has a hand, so it's wrong of me to push the stack at that point. So. But the flips were not with me this time, and he was extremely lucky. I guess that you have to be to win this type of thing. But with the flop coming without a 6, he's down to very, very few percentages in that one. That would have left me in a very, very good spot. So yeah, I'm very disappointed, it has to be so.
Well, our commiserations to you, and a good showing here for the final table, and hopefully next time even better. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well,
back to you guys in the commentary booth.
Well, hats off to Martin Nielsen. It's very rare you hear a poker player admit that quickly.
No, I was
that he was
surprised.
wrong.
He said, you know, I made a mistake. And I'm like, yeah, you did. Okay. He knew it right away. So, you know, that actually, I'm actually happy to hear that, knowing that he understood it. It wasn't a question of him not knowing.
Right.
That it was just maybe frustration, like he said. He just kind of lost it a little.
Talk to us a little bit about that, Daniel, about playing No Limit Hold'em for several days in a row, for long hours. You know, there's so much pressure when you play No Limit Hold'em, right?
Frankly, it's common for players to blow up sooner or later. When you play for 4 or 5 days, you're under so much stress and so much pressure every single hand that you play that could cost you your entire stack.
Right.
That, you know, one bad thing happens and all of a sudden it just alleviates all this pressure in a sense, and all of a sudden you just blah, you know, and just make this goofy play. And as soon as you do it, you go, what did I do?
Yeah.
And one of the things about being a more experienced player is that you recognize the situations before you do it. You take an extra breath and go, wait a minute, no. I was about to make a really dumb play, but no.
Bad, Daniel.
I'm not going to. And the better players, especially in crunch time, especially when you're at the final table, those are the ones that thrive under that kind of pressure, and they take a beat and they say, you know what? No big deal, I can handle it.
It's a fascinating thing, isn't it? Because I think it's one of those things that's really easy for spectators and people who like to post on forums and that kind of thing. It's easy to forget, and it's easy to take a hand, you know, in the cold light of day when, you know, you're not in the event and criticize or make an analysis or
and
whatever.
often, you know, when you watch a show on television, it's often edited, so you don't see all the hands. So if a guy makes a